As of today is day one of my video challenge, and while I wanted to do it live, I can't at the moment. I'm not feeling like myself. I'm feeling like really tired and dizzy, and my head's hurting, and all these like weird things, and so I'm just gonna record it, and it'll be just as well. And it actually fits into my topic for today. My topic for today is discussing my car accident and my chronic pain. So my car accident was it was January 2011, and I had gotten out of work at about noon. So I don't know what that meant. 4 to 12, 4 in the morning, 12. I worked at a gas station that was quite a distance from actually where I was living. I was living with my abuser actually, and so January. Okay, so I met him in November, December, January. So 3 months. Actually, where I was going was to the Key Bank I was living in West Seneca. I've been living there for 3 months now, and I was going to start a bank account at the Key Bank in West Seneca instead of having to go to Lockport every single week when I got paid, or whenever I got paid. But last second I decided I didn't want to, so I stayed in the lane. I was in the so it's like a 4-lane with like a middle, I think, that you can turn onto, so 5 lanes all total. I was in the farthest right lane because I was just going to turn and come through the police officer, because this was at the corner of Union and Main, maybe. So anyway, I'm stopped at this stoplight, and of something, just maybe the speed, the person behind me was driving, and we were all stopped at the stoplight. The stoplight was about to go green, like everybody knew it, but then the guy behind me, so he's going so fast that it caught my eye into the rear view. So I'm watching the rear view. He's not stopping, and then boom, right into the back of my car. But the weird thing about that I've never been able to understand is, his eyes were straight. He wasn't really, there was a passenger, but, he wasn't talking to the passenger. His eyes weren't down. I could tell he wasn't text messaging or something. He just didn't stop. And, I don't know, it's, noon. He was, 18 or something. So I'm at a stoplight. I wasn't the first in my line. So this car hits into me. I hit into the car in front of mine. 3 cars. And then, without even thinking about it, because at this point my head has hit the steering wheel and back, a couple different times now, and, my glasses, because the impact went up and over, and then, I ended up having to, get out of my car. He's trying to ask me if I'm okay. I'm like, just shut up, I need to find my glasses, I can't see without them, and that's all I was carrying. So I get out, and I'm, searching my entire car, and I find my glasses underneath my car, underneath my seat, so I was, very shocked, out of, everything that they bounced off of, how did they end up down there? And then the impact, so I had a Cavalier, 1998, if that matters, and the impact of getting hit from behind was, it opened the trunk from the inside, and that's, you have to pull a lever, you can't, it's a couple pounds to open it, so I had to pull a lever, and that opened. And then there was, smoke filled my car. And then the smoke was from the airbag. And then there was a compartment in the front of my car, down underneath the stereo, that opened that I never even knew was there, actually. And that one was open, too. So I found my glasses, and I get out, and he's, talking to me, and I'm just, I'm not registering the fact that I have a concussion. It took a long time for me to register the fact that I had a concussion and how bad it was. It was just, it was just me talking to this guy, and I was pissed at him. But there would have been no reason for him not to stop. There was a stoplight. So then the girl in front had to get out, and the biggest, damage for it, really, was, her bumper shattered. My trunk would no longer open after this accident, but, her bumper shed, so that was, the only thing that we could visually see that was wrong in the car accident. So she starts saying that she has a headache. Nobody was taken away by ambulance or anything, and then, I called the I just called the police station because we were right outside the West Seneca police station, and I'm like, where there's been a car accident, there's 3 cars. He's like, where are you? I'm like, oh, just look out your window, and then, like, they came. So, after the car accident, my car was working fine, I could still drive it or whatever, and I drove home to my abuser's home, and I called up my dad, and I was talking to him, then I was telling him that I was just in a car accident, and he was, like, talking to me about the car, and, like, everything, what I had to do with the insurance, and all of this stuff. And so, it came time that I needed to go pick up my abuser, and he did not like it when I was late, so I needed to get there on time. That's that was going through my head. So I pull in, and he gets in the car, and what I didn't notice, like, because that whole time, aside from talking to the police officer or talking to the 2 other drivers, like, that whole time I was alone. So there would have been nobody for me to actually be talking to notice the difference that my ex happened to point out that at that moment. So he gets in the car and he's talking to me, and all of my words are backwards. It's like, take a whole sentence and then flop it around, and then that's how I was saying it, and it was the weirdest thing, and I didn't even notice, but he noticed, and he's just like, oh, what's going on? And then I had told him about the car accident, because he can't drive, red flag, I still had to drive, knowing that he knew that I had a concussion, and, I still had to drive home, so he could talk to his mom about something, and then we went to the MAC Center. At the MAC Center, they gave me a pill for nausea, because I was feeling nauseous at that point, and for any kind of pain that I was suffering, they put a shot in my arm, and it was on this arm, right on top of this tattoo, Toradol or something, I think it was Toradol, but I was allergic to it, and we didn't know it until that moment, but, like, so they put the shot in my arm, and then, like, instantly I felt it. It was the worst. Like, my whole face, my whole body, all my skin turned, like, white. And then I just, like, started doing this whole thing, like, here. And then, like, my arm is so full of pain, like, I can't even speak. Like, I wanted to chop my arm off. It was the worst thing ever. I don't really even know what to compare it to. But, like, my whole body lit up on, like I was sitting there on fire, and it was the worst. And then I, like, fainted for a second, and then they helped me get back up. It was the worst. And, like, oh my god. So after that, there was, all the blah of my relationship or whatever. And then, I ended up, so that was January. By April, I was pregnant with my son. Well, by April, like 30th, I was pregnant with my son. And then, any pain that I was having, I just thought was a regular pregnancy thing. Like, I thought that anybody that was pregnant was feeling this kind of pain. So it wasn't, like, it was ignorance. I didn't know what I was supposed to be feeling, so I just accepted that whatever I was feeling was supposed to be normal. Who would think that the kind of pain and the kind of injuries that you could have from a car accident that didn't wreck any of the cars? So that's where my head was going. So, after so many different kinds of medicals, everything, I had everything to do with letters, EKG, EMG, MRI, like, I had them all. So, MRIs, I had every 6 months. The very first one, they found a cyst in my brain, and then, I think, within the first year, they found another cyst that they either didn't notice the first time, or that they were just now noticing then, and then, I'm trying to remember the names of the things. So I had the EMG. EMG is, if you don't know what it is, they take needles, they put them into specific nerves, they send out an electric wave, and then the electric wave comes back at a specific speed, and that tells you how damaged that the nerve is. So he was doing so many EMGs, and we were doing them so often. And I remember that, but, like, so there was a moment in the very first one, and I didn't know what I was feeling. I didn't know what the moment that we were connecting on. And we had them in my hands, we had them in my neck, we had them in my lower back, just so he could, like, keep tabs. This was my pain management that was doing this. And so he would put the needle in, and then he looked at me, and then I looked at him. that moment that we were sharing was him noticing I didn't flinch, and that was a big thing. Like, even specifically in places like my hand, like, he would put the needle in, and people are usually, like, screaming, and he has to, like, hold on to the hand or whatever, and I'm just, like, looking at him, like, okay, is it happening? Are we doing it? Is that what it is? So, there were many, many, many nerves that were coming back with absolutely nothing. Like, normally you'll see this or whatever, but they were just, like, flatlined. So, what it came back was, down my neck, I believe, C, and in between the discs, not the entire disc, but, like, some sort of, like, C, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then there's 2 annular tears, which to my knowledge means that the disc is actually torn. All of them are herniated, even if they're torn at the same time. And then my lower back, L4, L5, S1, those are all bulged. And so, over time, because it's been we're coming up on 7 years, over time, so C5, C4, C5, or C5, C6, those are your arms. Everybody needs your arms. So, I was in my associates, because 2011, so 2012, 13, I think it was 2013 is when I first started going back to school. And that's when it really started hitting me. Initially, I had the over-the-shoulder backpack. It was just, I think I have the same one. I love the backpack, and I just look at it now because I can't use it. So it was just over the shoulder, and then that one was causing too much pain, like up in this area up here. So then I went to the both, and then that was causing too much pain in here. And then I went to the Rolly backpack, and then that caused all this area in here, so that they had said I had cubital tunnel syndrome. And then the way that they were going to solve that was, let me show you. They were going to cut 3 inches this way, 3 inches this way. There's a nerve down in here that's being, not snapped, but like, it's too tight. There's not enough for its room, so they were going to move the nerve from up here, suture it into the muscles up here. Then they were going to sew it all back together, and then hope that it worked. And I believe the numbers that the doctor gave me was a 0 to 100% chance that it might work. And I was going to also have this 6-inch scar if it didn't work. And for me, those odds, there's no effing way. Sorry. And, like, I went as far as even scheduling that surgery, but, like, those odds are not that stupid. So then, some of the things that were happening, so each time we had an EMG, because we were doing them every single year, so each time, like, he was testing my neck, he was testing my lower back, and then he even went into testing my arm. So each time we're having this EMG, he's shooting in those electric waves, nothing's coming back, and then he's noticing that, like, from one year to the next year, he's like, have you been in another accident? Like, have you had any kind of other injuries? And I'm just like, no, why? He's like, because your results between last year and this year are like you're a 60-year-old woman right now. And I'm just like, okay, like, I was like 21. How am I ever gonna take that? Like, okay, now I have the body of a 60-year-old. Great. But every single year, because of degenerative disc disease, I have that. So every single year, my discs are deteriorating, and they're getting worse and worse, and all my symptoms are either getting worse or new symptoms are coming up. So the fact that I went through 3 different backpacks over a year or 2 or whatever, like, that one was just like, okay, I'm adapting. Like, that, but that's what it's been since my car accident, adapting to every single weird, random symptom that has ever come to me, and finding a way to just continue, because I'm not going to be the person that's sitting in my bed. Like, it's not going to happen. So, eventually, I lost the ability to write. Anybody that knows me, like, writing is my thing. That's how I get through things. But it took a very long time for me to be able to actually, like, see, like, it was writing is causing a specific amount of pain. And that's probably, like, the biggest thing. Like, backpack, who needs a backpack? Just don't carry anything. So, but, like, not writing. And I stopped writing for a long time. And then, but then, like, so any lawyers or doctors are all just like, okay, you can't write. It's not the end of the world because you can now dictate. And while I love dictation, like, it's the only thing that's getting me through now. But, like, I can't even find it. I love a brand new notebook with a crystal big pen. That was something that, like, brought me so, like, I can't even tell you the amount of joy that I got from a brand new notebook and crystal big pens. Black, if you need to know. And I still love them. Like, I'll still look at them. But, like, I can't. It was during an algebra test. I think it was algebra or accounting during my associates. And I had noticed that my hand was cramping, but I hadn't actually, like, looked at it because I was focused on the test. But my algebra teacher, she looked at it, and she told me I needed to put my pen down, and I could finish the test another time. Because this whole area right here had gone black and blue and, like, blew up. And, like, I hadn't noticed because I was just sitting there doing this. I would put my pen down and I would just do this while I'm thinking about the answers to the next thing. And then I would, like, start writing again, and she, like, physically made me stop doing the test because something was wrong, and I wasn't noticing it. And that was the first moment that we started realizing that it was writing that was doing this. And I didn't start writing for pleasure. I continued my schooling, and it was really hard because there were certain, like, my history teacher during my undergrad, I was going through the disability accommodations or something, and when I was doing that, I felt really weird about it. I didn't want people to know because it felt like people were going to look at me different if they knew that that I was working around things. So, through disability accommodation, you can now have a note taker. But I didn't think that I needed a note taker. I just needed PowerPoints because nowadays all the people use PowerPoints. So, he refused to give me his PowerPoints. Like, absolutely refused. I had paperwork and everything, and since my domestic violence whole relationship, I don't like confrontation. So, while I could have got him in trouble, because even me bringing something from the disability accommodation place, like, telling him, you are required to give this person PowerPoints, like, he absolutely refused, and I ended up taking the class pass-fail and failing the class. But because it was pass-fail, it didn't affect my GPA, and, like, it gave, like, history a horrible taste in my mouth. So I retook it with somebody else, and it ended up being better. But, like, so, what? He could have gotten in a lot of trouble, but I didn't want the confrontation. I didn't want that kind of trouble in my life. I just, like, PTSD, like, I don't want extra drama. I don't want people yelling. I don't want people mad. It's just, like, I can't even handle it. So, over time, my last 7 years has just been, like, one struggle after another. Noticing this kind of pain from this thing, adapt. This kind of pain from this thing, adapt. This causes this, stop doing this. But, like, so that's what it's been. But, like, nowadays, I've got it down to, over the last 7 years, it took last year and this year. So really, since I met Melissa, when I met my Beachbody coach, it was then that I started realizing that I wanted to be different. And then I hadn't noticed, so I lost 25 pounds when I was first started, like, actively working with the challenge groups and doing Beachbody. And then August hit, and August, you wouldn't think that August would be really, really bad for pain, but it is, and it took me out. It took me out, and August wasn't even sorry. But, so it took me out, and so I lost those 25 pounds, and then August hit. I had just gotten my PTSD emotional support dog, so that helped a lot for my PTSD, but it did not help for pain. I didn't expect it to. So, August came, I stopped working out, so August till about March of this year, actually, is when I started really coming down on it again. And this is where I started getting more active in the cardio, and noticing that it wasn't causing pain, it was actually helping with my pain. So, when I started paying attention to my fitness, and I started paying attention to my nutrition and my diet, is when I started being able to notice, this stuff helps, this stuff doesn't. And then I started seeing the cycle that I was on. And the cycle that I'm on is, over the last 7 years, I have about 3 to 4 good months. But I don't notice it, and I didn't notice it until it took me noticing, and I was paying attention to my body, and I was writing down the changes and everything that I was going through, because I wanted the maximum amount of weight loss, because I was headed into an 80-pound weight loss in total. So you have to pay attention to your body to figure out what your body likes, what your body doesn't like, so that you can really zone in on what works, and then go into that more efficiently so that you can continue your weight loss. So I lost those 25 pounds, and then came in March, I was 200 pounds. That's what I started at. And then I buckled down on my nutrition. I buckled down on my cardio. I buckled down on Beachbody. And then right now I've lost 67 pounds total. 80 pounds of the 80 pounds. So that... 67? Yeah, something like that. So, the cycle that I'm on is I have 3 to 4 good months, starting from about April to August. April, May, June, July, August. So, starting from May, I have, yeah. And then that means 9 bad months, and it starts from August and goes all the way to whenever the good months start. I can't even. So, it took Energize. You have to actually work out when you take Energize, because if you sit down doing nothing, you can't. So the cycle that I'm on is 4 good months, 9 bad months. And the reason that matters is now because this is the first year of my almost 7 years that I've been able to notice this. And so because I've noticed the bad months, I can start trying to target the bad months and try to do better. And so over the course of this whole month, like November has been horrendous. Like I can't even, like, I'm tears crying because like I can't take the pain. And the pain is just like, imagine a pain that would affect like this whole area, which affects your arms, and then like in the lower back, because I have the bulge disc, that affects your legs, and it's just like everywhere. And sometimes like there's nothing else you can do but curl up into a ball and cry. And I wish that I could tell everybody that's listening or watching right now that like there was a way to get past that, but I'm still experimenting, and I don't have the answers to that. So the reason, like today, last night it snowed, and it was snowing pretty bad from like Niagara Falls to here, because that was my drive. And so today I don't feel like myself. Today I felt like a zombie. Today I was just like overcome, and I was just tired. And that's the first thing. That's really the first reasons that I start to notice that my body is in pain, and my body recuperates or tries to help myself by taking all of my energy to go to the places that are in pain and to stop the pain, because I can't take it. And by taking all of my energy to go to those places and stop it, I end up like today, I was just sleeping all day. And I mean, I'm not sorry for it. Sometimes you just need to sleep, especially with the amount of pain that I'm in all the time. So today, for the video challenge, this is the end. Today was just talking about my car accident and my chronic pain, and the fact that I'm not going to say that it ruined my life. I refuse. Because just because I'm in pain doesn't mean that I can't do anything. It just means that I'm going to have a hell of a time. I'm going to suffer. I'm going to endure a lot to be able to get from point A to point B, but I'm going to get to point B. Even if it's later than I imagined, it's going to happen. I'm not the kind of person that can roll over and sit in bed every day, all day. And the system, the courts want to look at you like I'm not walking with a cane, and I don't have a neck brace, and you can't physically see that I'm in pain, because I can withstand a lot. I have a really high pain tolerance over the last 7 years. Like, this is just something. It's just, this is my life now. That doesn't mean that I'm not sad about it, and that doesn't mean that I'm not suffering. That doesn't mean that I'm not crying on the inside just because I'm standing in a bunch of people. I don't cry in public. No. But that doesn't mean that I'm not in pain and suffering every single day of my life. And that doesn't mean that the pain doesn't get worse. It's just, this is my life now. And so this is the end of the beginning of my video challenge. I took Energize, so I'm ready to go work out. and I'm upping my hydrate because maybe I'm dehydrated because my body's working overtime to recuperate, to try to bring the least amount of pain so that I don't feel as much pain. So that's energy. That's me being tired. That's me needing water. You gotta hydrate. There's so many different things that your body needs, and once you start to realize what's doing what, at what point to make your body do what, you start to be able to zone in and realize that yes, today I'm gonna use hydrate. I'm not gonna be sorry for it. Today I slept from like 11 to 2, and I'm not gonna be sorry for it. I spent a long time being sorry about my specific fears, the specific things that I'm going through. The fact that I was fearful for people to find out that I was on a disability at school. The fact that I needed a note taker, like, I was very ashamed of that. And I look back, hindsight 2020, like, I didn't need to be. I'm a rockin' person. Like, I'm awesome. And I'm awesome regardless of the stuff that I've gone through. And that's what makes me special. And I should just embrace that, because it took a lot to get to who I am today. And, yeah. So I hope you have a fantastic day. Because regardless of whatever you're going on in your life, you have full control over how you're feeling about it. You create your own happiness, and you can choose to be happy no matter what's going on, because you're you, and you're special. Have a great day.